and a lot of just women in general, they do this where you just put a Band-Aid over top, a Band-Aid over top, a Band-Aid over top. And eventually your body's going to say, absolutely not. There's no more Band-Aids. You're all out. And when you get to that point, it's going to be much harder to get back up to where you even can feel good, let alone start to lose weight and change your life and change your body. So I'll say that for, with what I've seen from my clients, I don't expect perfection from anybody. I don't expect them to ever just like, quote unquote, get it, right? Like it takes one day at a time, making just one better choice. Say, oh, well, it's motivating. No, find other ways to motivate yourself. You know what I mean? I wear my bands every day. Fight for what you want, get your movement in, love your body throughout. Every day, these motivate me. When I wear them, I feel like I can go get my movement in, I can accomplish anything, right? Like if you have a painting on the wall that motivates you, sticky notes that you write a positive affirmation on, that whatever it's got to be, like find what motivates you and go rock with it. Okay. Like I love houses. I love real estate, all the things, right? So it's like you're building the foundation and the bricks of everything. So it's like, can you just, like I said, get the steps down? That's the baseboard, right? You know what I mean? And then we start going and we keep going and keep going. And so every day that you move your body, you fuel your body and you start to love your body, my gosh, you're going to have a mansion before you know it.
On this exciting episode of Through the Trauma podcast, we are going to sit down with an expert who is all about loving your body throughout your fitness journey. Now, fitness plays a huge part in your mental health. And we also know that when you attack your goals by linking arms with someone who is like-minded and can give you accountability, you are 30% more likely to attack those goals and to achieve them. Therefore, we're launching an accountability group. And inside of this group, we're going to share things like recipes, workout ideas, health and fitness activities that we can do, workouts that we can do from home. And the list just continues to go on. And to kick off this group, we are starting a 60-day challenge. And inside of those 60 days, we are going to interview experts just like the one you are getting ready to hear, who's going to share with you all kinds of fitness tips, tricks, and ideas. You will have the opportunity to ask these experts anything that you would like throughout these 60 days. This is such an exciting opportunity, especially for those of you who are looking to kickstart your health and fitness journey. So if you're ready, then I would like to invite you to jump into this group. You should see a QR code on this screen, and that's going to take you right into the challenge and the registration. So go ahead, scan the QR code, and I'll see you there. An exploration of trauma, transformation, and triumph. Your healing starts here. And we are back with another episode of Through the Trauma podcast, and I am Amber, your host. And today I have with me Miss Dani D, owner of Dani D Fitness. And Dani is a friend of mine. She's been a client of mine in the photography space. And she is also a very, very knowledgeable source when it comes to fitness and it comes to body confidence. If you don't know what body confidence is, we are going to get into it. But Dani, thank you so much for coming back on. I know I've had you here before. We talked about trauma, but this time we're going to talk primarily about fitness and how fitness ties into being trauma-free and why people should take their fitness seriously. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, I'm so excited. Of course, Amber, anything for you. So I love your podcast and I love, speaking all the time. So this is just awesome.
Yeah. And Dani has her own podcast, which is Love Your Body. Mm-hmm. She gets into a lot more fitness style stuff than what I do here on Through the Trauma. But fitness is my passion. Mm-hmm. I think it's a very vital part of health and wellness and just holistically being better in life. So I love these conversations and I'm excited to get into it and to bring what you do more in front of people because it's so valuable.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. And I definitely, it's my life's mission, right? To help women love their body throughout movement. And not just women, men have been impacted by Dani D Fitness and this, love your body movement for years as well. And, I do speaking engagements and I'll stand in front of the crowd and I'll ask people and I'll say, like, have you ever felt less than or not comfortable in your body? And no matter what background, what age, what size, everyone raises their hand. We've all been impacted by that. And so it's like, well, how do we fix that? Let's keep it simple, right? What do we do? Because a lot of people, I think, they just think that this is their life. This is as good as it's going to get, right? Like if they're uncomfortable or they have diabetes or high cholesterol or whatever it is, they're like, well, that's it. I'm aging, or I'm a mom. I hear that all the time. I have clients in their best shape that have 4 kids that have started working with me. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where those are just stereotypes. And I am all about breaking the stereotype ever since I started my business almost 9 years ago.
Yeah. And genetics is another one of those things that I hear, and I'm not even a fitness coach, but I'll hear
Right.
this about, oh, it's just my genetics.
Right.
Mm.
Exactly. And that's, again, it's just another, I hate to say it like this, but it's just another excuse of, because I see it very clearly. My family has great genetics, like great, stuff, but they have they've gone down that they live in more I guess I'd say like more country areas, right? So like they have gone down that path of drinking, smoking, all of that. So that's why their health is in turmoil. But, me and my brother, we have always been like, him outside working and things like that with his hands, me dancing. I danced competitively my whole life. So I always had movement. I was doing 6 hours to 8 hours of dance, I feel like every day, ever since I was little. So it's one of those things where movement was always present. And because of that, we've changed our whole lifestyle where we could have easily fell into what those norms of our genetics, were going to be.
I mean, I hear that a lot as well. And we do have to recognize there are, yes, your genetics do play a part, and there is a propensity to,
For sure.
you know, one person may have more propensity for heart disease, and one person may have more of, just genetically really skinny, or just genetically
Right.
more heavy set. That's true.
Yeah.
But we all have things that we struggle with when it comes to our bodies, and we all have things that we struggle with when it comes to our health. And yes, if we're not taking care of ourselves,
Hmm.
those things can manifest and come out. And I think as we age, that does happen.
Right.
Um, I know one big struggle myself has been hormonally recently,
Yes. Yes.
because I'm 45. I'm, kind of starting to go through the change of life.
Yeah.
And, but I know also women that have just had children,
Yep.
they struggle with hormones. Women that are just coming into adulthood, like I have a 10-year-old daughter,
Hmm.
and I know that eventually she's going to get to the place where her hormones
Oh yeah.
are changing. And
Yep.
this is something that is primary to women, just to women.
Yeah.
So, can you talk to us a little bit about what you see in hormones? Because you work with women of all different ages.
Yes.
So, those
Yeah.
changes in life as women, it's a journey for women.
It is, and it can be very disheartening because a lot of them don't have a lot of answers or knowledge around it. A lot of people can't even name the 4 like cycles, or like the, 4 parts of our cycle. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and they don't know what it's like to why you feel a certain way. And so it's just like the more knowledge that we can go around these things and explaining that, it is key. So it's one of those things where I know that medicine comes into it at some point, right? Like it can, like that's like an option. But I always try to tell my girls, like, let's exhaust every option possible before we go to that. So, I'm like, if you have focused on your food and you're eating nutrient dense whole foods, okay, and you're on it, and you get your protein in every day, and you get your caloric intake, like all these things, follow your macros, things like that, like, eat like to feel good, to fuel your body. If you are moving, even if that is just, getting your walks in and getting your step count, right? Like some people, I think when they're first starting out, don't even realize how important it is to walk, and or how little they walk. And so that's why, I wear my Apple Watch, and because I found that when I went through my hormone issues, that there would be a couple days where I was barely getting any steps because I just like couldn't get the energy to muster it up, and things like that. And then I would have days where I worked out so hard and then had a ton of steps. So then your body's constantly on this roller coaster, and it's like, well, what's consistency? Like what are we doing? Right. So it's built in this foundation of a base of, okay, can I get consistently with my steps every day? And I don't even care if that's consistently only, 3,000 steps a day, right? Start there. then go to 5,000, then go to, like, and bump your way up. It's the same thing with water. I see that people always are like, oh yeah, water. And I used to roll my eyes at it too. But especially for us women that are, if they're feeling pressure to, they're losing like the skin elasticity, or their skin's not looking how they want to, like, water is going to help with that. Like, it's going to help with skin issues, going to help detoxify. It's your best natural detox versus all these nonsense detoxes you're paying for on social media, right? So it's like, even with the water, I tell my clients, I say, let's just stick with like half your body weight in ounces a day. But here's the deal. If you are only getting 20 ounces a day, then no, don't go to 100. Like, again, it's bumping it slowly up. And that's why I feel like programming is so important, because all these things we can all be like, oh yeah, got it. But then your kid starts crying, or, your boss calls you in to work, or, oh, your husband does this, or whatever. So life happens. So like, theoretically, if you have no work, no responsibilities, whatever, yeah, I can get my steps in, Dani. Yeah, I can get my water in, duh. Like, yeah, I can get 8 hours of sleep. Okay, now put life, and all that goes away.
That's so
Unless,
true.
right? Like, unless you have somebody that's like, hey, did you get your steps in? Or, hey, did you get your water in? Or some type of, I have check-in methods with my online program clients, right? So they know that they can write on the plan to say, hey, I'm really struggling, need some help, need some support. Or, they reach out in my Instagram group and they say, hey, is anybody else like going through this? And everyone is going through it. And so they don't feel alone in their journey. So it's like, I've always talked about it of like, you're building a house. Okay. Like, I love houses. I love real estate, all the things, right? So it's like, you're building the foundation and the bricks of everything. So it's like, can you just, like I said, get the steps down? That's the baseboard, right? You know what I mean? And then we start going and we keep going and keep going. And so every day that you move your body, you fuel your body, and you start to love your body, oh my gosh, you're going to have a mansion before you know it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I just caught something that you said. You said, love your body. And I think a lot of times people can get this misconstrued with the fact that loving my body means that I have to look at it and accept it for what it is and love it. And there is that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also this idea loving your body is treating it kindly,
Yes.
like treating it as a temple, because that's what it is. Your body
Yeah.
gets you through life. It's houses your spirit, but that's what moves you through life physically.
Right.
So loving and respecting your body. And I think that's beautiful, because what I'm hearing you say is that you teach all of that.
Yeah. And because I have a triangle method, right? So it's get your movement in, fuel your body, and then positivity, right? The positivity part is lined in with love your body. So, because again, if we start to feel more positive about ourselves internally, we then start to love ourselves, right? And the thing is again, everyone, like you said, misconstrues it. When I say like love your body, it does not mean that one day you're going to wake up and love everything about your body. It does not mean that one day you're going to be your smallest and then love your body, right? Like, it's not that. It's about loving your body throughout your journey. So today, for example, I did a leg workout, and I'm like, thank you to my body for holding up and like feeling good, and my back with previous injuries. Like, I feel successful. You know what I mean? And that's loving my body. I didn't say anything about how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, so again, it's nice to say, oh yeah, like, I love my shoulders today, or like, oh, like, I love my, or whatever, right? And those are great too. Those are positive affirmations to help you, especially if you're at that point where you hate your body or you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. But loving is all encompassing, right? And that is what this whole mission is about. Because again, I know that there are people who can hate their way to their best physique. But then again, that's not going to keep you in your best physique, because eventually then you get comfortable and then you just start all over. And it's this vicious cycle, versus if we would have learned to build that house properly, right? We wouldn't have to tear it down and start from the ground up again.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you take someone like I have my own personal experience with fitness, and I've been involved in fitness since I was 20, young, actually before. When I was in high school is when I first took an interest in fitness.
Mhm.
And I think for me, I have approached fitness as that way. Like, I hate this. I was really, really super skinny, and I was just like a lanky kid. Like, I
Mhm.
clothes didn't look good on me. Like, it was not happy at all. And I took fitness as like, I'm going to change this.
Right.
And while there's value in that, I think there's also, we have to understand too that there is a bigger issue at play. It's not, it is the how you look is an added benefit.
Right, for sure.
But really, when you look at fitness, it's like it is loving yourself throughout. It's feeding yourself the right kind of things that's going to make you feel good
Right.
in day-to-day actions. It's being sure that you're taking care of yourself in a way that is going to produce the healthiest version of yourself, because if you slack on those areas, you're going to end up not being able to fulfill what you really are put here to do, which we
Right.
all have a purpose. So it kind of, it's a very domino effect, I feel like.
For sure. And it also, there's a lot of parallels if people start to realize like somebody who isn't committed to like the gym, like they don't have a like a routine, right? Most of the time has a hard time with like finances, or has a hard time with like commitment with relationship, or like, you know what I mean? Like there's all these things that if you really look at it, you'll start, maybe someone's listening to this podcast like, oh man, like that's right. Like I am kind of like all over the place, or I'll be all in my savings, and then I all of a sudden go and like, take everything out. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same thing with like, oh, I did that January challenge and then I was like out like afterwards, right? So I believe that like by moving your body, you feel better. By eating better, you feel better. Like all the things that people look at like, oh, but I want to go have this and that. And like, it's just, the thing is you can have those things, right? Like we're not telling you can't enjoy pizza once in a while, or you can't enjoy the birthday cake with your kid and whatever. We're not saying that. All we're saying is that for the most part of like the 80%, or however you want to look at it, of the time, if you just wander through life being like, yeah, I think I'll go eat like the fast food, or yeah, like I'll probably go for like a walk. Okay, if you treated your relationship like that, your work life like that, your animal like that, I think he needs to go walk, but like, no, not today. Like you would never do that. So why do you do that with yourself and your body?
Mm.
Right?
That's so good. It's so true, because I've never thought of it like that, but it's so true.
Exactly. And that's where, I mean, again, it's finding like, that's why I love what I do, because again, I've been every size. I have been upwards of 55% body fat to 14% body fat. I, have dealt with, like we talked about, with hormones and things like that, which I never thought that that would be something I'd have to deal with. And I don't know why I never thought about it. I guess I didn't know a lot about it. And you just hear all these stories and you think they're extreme cases, but you're looking at more women these days that can't have children. Why is that? You're looking more at more women who are getting cancer earlier, that are getting, becoming, having PCOS, endometriosis. Most of my girls I train have some type of autoimmune disorder. They have PCOS or they have endometriosis. They've had surgeries for these things and they keep coming back. Like, you know what I mean? Some of them cannot get pregnant just yet, but some of my girls have been able to, which has been great. So it just goes to show you that literally, I've had girls not be able to conceive. And then they have gone on my programming. They've trained their body. Again, nothing crazy. I don't train clients 5 times a week. You know what I mean? That's not what I do. This is something that they're learning how to live a realistic, healthy lifestyle, something that they could do when they're 50 or 60 or 70. Right. And I'm like, can you give me, 3 days of strength training and 3 days of cardio? And what does that look like? 2 days of cardio, however you want to do it. And then like one day with your husband or your friend or whoever, and you just go outside in a nature, right? Like very basic stuff, like customizing it to their obviously lifestyle. But like, you know what I mean? To be like, okay, you could totally do this. Like no matter what day it is, it doesn't matter. Your body just wants you to move. Your body just wants you to fuel yourself.
Mm.
And so anyway, I just think that like with the hormone stuff and everything ramping up, we all have to kind of look at it. Like our food has changed. Even our water that we drink, if you don't have a filtration system, is different. Like there's so many things. So it's like we can only control so much, right? So what can I can control right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can I go for a walk? Yes, I can control that. Okay. If it's raining outside, okay, I got a walking pad. Like, like again, like I would love if anyone wanted to throw, oh, whatever. Like I'll tell you this quick story. I had a client who 25 years old and had, I would say 10 different disorders, like 10 different things wrong with her body. Okay. From endometriosis to POTS to PCOS to just, I mean, like you under the sun. Okay. 25. And literally has had multiple surgeries, gallbladder out, all these things, whatever. And she couldn't, when she first came to see me, she could not raise her hands above her head without passing out. I had to be mindful that throughout every session, she could fall on the ground, like she could faint. And and that again, handled it. We worked our way up. She can now deadlift her body weight. Okay. And her body's changed, her physique. And now to everyone else, she looks normal, right? Quote unquote. Again, she still has to deal with these things, but she doesn't have to deal with the excess weight, the chronic pain that she felt in her joints. Like, you know what I mean? Her face is not inflamed anymore. Like all of that came from her working with me 2 times a week for the past, I think it was 2 years.
I think that sometimes if you take someone who has been the person you described earlier, that
Mhm.
they're just, whenever I want to, I diet one day, I eat healthy, the next day I eat crap, I
Yeah.
just walk when I want, like it's so inconsistent and you don't really take it seriously.
Right.
Those people, if you just put them on a consistency plan,
Yeah.
and you just have them, like, again, someone that maybe eats fast food, I don't know, twice a day, drinks sodas twice a day. If you just cut some of that stuff, like how valuable is that? Because I know not everyone starts on the same level.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'll take myself, for example. I used to be like addicted to soda and I would drink 2 liters a day. Okay. And then when I got to college, I was like, okay, I'll just have a 6 pack of soda a day. And then I'll get the mini cans. And then so I weaned myself off. It was not a like, okay, we're done. Like I loved it. It was it was a high, honestly, that I got from that sugar. And I just was raised on soda. So that was something that I really never drank water and only when I exercised. So thank goodness I had movement in my life or I probably would have been diabetic. You know what I mean? Like at a young age. So it's one of those things where I always tell people it's all in moderation and it does add up because again, that one even soda 250 calories or whatever it is, right? And the sugar and all the stuff, that's probably your daily allowance of sugar, puts your body in a state of fight or flight. It's not natural. So so you got to think about the stress that that's putting on you. Plus you're already stressed out, or you could use energy drinks for an example too, whatever, like, all the craze of that and stuff. So it's just like, you're constantly running on this cycle. And I spoke to a lady the other day about this and she was like, yeah, she has like, I have adrenal fatigue and I literally have to chug a Red Bull right now just to get my daughter to where she needs to go. And I think a lot of mothers and a lot of just women in general, they do this where you just put a Band-Aid over top, a Band-Aid over top, a Band-Aid over top. And eventually your body's going to say, absolutely not. There's no more Band-Aids. You're all out. And when you get to that point, it's going to be much harder to get back up to where you even can feel good, let alone start to lose weight and change your life and change your body. So I'll say that for, with what I've seen from my clients, I don't expect perfection from anybody. I don't expect them to ever just like quote unquote get it right. Like it takes one day at a time, making just one better choice, and that's how I have found with like, especially because I've been able to raise my thyroid back up. My gut biome was on non-existent, was having digestive issues and things like that. Like everything is back to normal in that sense. Like, and the gut biome's coming back up. Like, so that's good. My autoimmune is, getting better as well. Like everything, my period is back. Like these things that I didn't have for 3 years. And and all of that comes from, again, small changes, getting in bed a little bit earlier, not being on my phone as often throughout the day, right? As much as I can, getting some sunlight on my face. I have a red light therapy. Like, there's little things like even the Hatch alarm clock has been a game changer for me. It has like the noise, the green noise, like color noise, and it has like a light. And like I thought I would hate that, but it puts me in such a deep sleep that, I mean, someone listening to this probably right now is like, whoa, like what's deep sleep like? And I'm like, it's fantastic. I hadn't had it for years, but now that I use that, I mean, that was just a small tool that now helps me,
Yeah, there's a lot of things that people can do, and it is up to us to navigate our health and to figure out the things that are going to work for us because we're all wired differently. It's all,
Right.
all of us have different things that's going to affect us differently. But I think it's really important because you don't know what's going to make the biggest impact. We all can attest that a healthy diet is going to make a huge impact because we are what we eat. I know it's kind of like a
Yeah.
tagline phrase, but it's so true because what we're putting into our body is affecting us on a cellular level.
Yeah.
So it's like that's going to affect us. We can all agree with that. But I don't know if pineapple is going to make me bloated or if brown rice is going to make me more bloated than white rice. Like,
exactly.
We don't know those things. So it's very important that we start to learn our bodies, and sometimes working with someone who can help navigate that is helpful. Sometimes you can navigate that yourself just by trying different things, trial and error, and see how your body how your body feels.
Right. And again, it's so overwhelming, right? Someone listening to this may be like, you guys, like, it's, because we may seem like we're like seasoned vets, in this space because we've been doing it for so long. But you have to realize that when I started, I mean, that's how I started. I didn't have a
Me
coach.
too.
I didn't have a trainer, right? So I had to try all these different things. I used to do like half marathons. I ran a lot. I liked it, that was great, whatever, but didn't really help with like my body composition and like, it helped with stress and stuff. But I was like, I want to feel strong. Got into strength training. I was like, oh, I'm really good at this, became national strongest woman in 2019, like, because I flipped a 500-pound tire. Right. So like, that led me, it was all stepping stones. I didn't just come out the gate being like, oh, let me flip and let me lift up 400 pounds and whatever. Right. Like it started with a dumbbell. And, and a lot of people, they just think that they're never going to get there. And I get it. Cause it's kind of like with me, like learning foreign language. It's like, I know a little bit about it, but I'm like trying to actively do it. But it's like, you put other things above it. And I'm like, oh no, I need to train my clients. I need to, focus on, writing a book or, doing all these different things. Right. And you're like, that gets put on the wayside. Or even like with my devotionals and stuff like, and it's just, again, if it's important to you, you'll do it. And so what we're trying to do is change the mindset of how people look at moving, to know that it doesn't have to be this crazy extensive. Like I personally, with hormones and stuff, don't recommend my clients go do a bunch of crazy classes and HIIT training and like whatever. And again, some people love that, but some people, again, it's just not the vibe because they're already so stressed out. They're only adding that more stress. So like we need to start with a different type of programming. And that's why custom programming is so key. And for example, if I would have had that during my bodybuilding and stuff, I wouldn't be in the position I am right now, where I have autoimmune disorder and I have had some health issues. And because again, it was cookie cutter, right? And it's kind of that thing, like you get what you pay for, kind of, right? And it's, so if you're someone that just looks up on YouTube and does these videos and stuff, it's like, okay, but like that, I don't know if that's going to be your life-changing thing. Like, and some people that works for them, but I would say like 95% of people have to have accountability, somebody to check in with, right? Whether that's their, like I said, a trainer, a coach, a partner, accountability friend, whatever, right? But they got to have something that keeps them motivated in that until they get to the point where they're like, you know what, I have learned this and it's realistic and I can do this forever. And that's my goal with my clients. Like I want them to, they don't need me. They want to train with me, if that makes sense, after a certain point. But knowing that like they can go into a gym and feel confident. They can go, like instilling these things and saying that they can make a meal without just grabbing the chips, and like actually make something of substance.
So for someone like myself, right, who has been involved in fitness for years, I can say that I still struggle. It's fitness is a lifelong journey. It's not a overnight. It's not like, like to what you were saying about someone watching this might look at us like we're seasoned vets. I can attest to this. I still struggle. Right now, I am struggling to get off of drinking so many energy drinks because I love energy drinks.
Right.
Back several months ago, I had to cut back on my cardio, add in more carbs because it was killing. Like hormonally, I had not had that problem before, but coming into perimenopause, I guess, is what I'm in. I don't know. I'm in something because I knew my hormones changed and my energy plummeted. So it's like, as that began to happen, I'm like, okay, something's got to change. You have to understand too, fitness is it is this lifelong journey. And as women, our bodies are going to change throughout the course of our lifetime.
Yes.
So sometimes you might have it together like your whole 30s, and then
Right.
40s hits and it's like, oh my God, it's
Right.
like now everything's in chaos and disarray.
Yes.
So sometimes being gracious and being gracious to ourselves, and then also knowing that if I jump in at 20, I may have to reiterate things at 30, and I may have to reiterate things at 40.
Right.
So even you might be a seasoned vet then, but now you have to change things for the future. And I think that gives some people, I would hope that would give people a little bit of confidence and comfort, knowing that if I'm brand new, I don't even know, I can't even walk into a gym. I don't even know how to lift, how to work any of the equipment.
Right.
No, we've all started somewhere. And then because there are so many types of fitness, I can tell you right now, if I walked into a yoga studio, I would make a fool of myself because I don't understand yoga.
Right.
But I've been in fitness for 25 years, so like, I don't want people to feel like intimidated by it, because health is so important, and everything in life is kind of like cruxed on health and fitness, because if you don't have your health, you don't have your life.
Well, and here's the thing. I think that because again, I know this with society, how people look at it is it's kind of like when we were in high school, like when, I mean, I don't know if you ever did this, but like, in a group project, you're looking at everybody and you're like, everybody's just getting it. But like, how can I like cheat to like get ahead or like get the same, like, you know what I mean? Like get the same grade that they did, but without doing all the work. Or how can I copy what they did? And you know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where, everyone is looking for that quick fix. That, Ozempic is crazed, the Manjaro or whatever that is, stuff like all of that is a big deal, right now. And again, I had 8 of my clients all go to the doctor around the same time, just kind of like a check in or whatever with their stuff. And every single one of them got told that they should be put on that medicine. Okay, guys, let's think about this for a second. Do I train the same body and the same person? Are they all the same people? No, they're all different ages or different sizes or different walks of life. Like, right? So isn't that a little odd that they would ask, like, you know what I mean? That they would all have the same thing wrong with like them or whatever. Okay. So again, it's one of those things of like, or like a thyroid medication. Like they had said that as well for them to be on. And I'm like, did they even show you what your levels were? Like, no. Like, you know what I mean? They said, oh, well, it could be at this point. Like, and again, it's these stories that I hear, and I'm like, you have to understand that they don't have your best interest at heart. It is all a money game. And you can say, oh, well, Danny, you're a personal trainer. That's how you make your money. That's true. But I went into this because I created a community because I never had that. I didn't have anybody looking after me or looking out for my best interest. I had coach after coach after coach put me on 1,200 meal plan, 1,400 meal plan, go do 5 miles, then a strength training class, and then go work out and burn 2,000 more calories. Okay. Not an exaggeration. That was a regular thing for me. And there was no reason for that except for to make me look smaller, lose muscle, and a number on a scale. Okay. So again, I was like, somebody has to stand up for these people. Like someone has to be that person that's going to help girls. I mean, especially, young girls or older girls, it doesn't matter, whoever, all these women, to know that, again, I've lived it. I've been there, and I know so much and have seen so much that I know what's going to help you for the long term and what's going to work. You know what I mean? And it's going to be different depending on your lifestyle and everything like that. And that's why I take the time every day talking to my clients, because again, they're all going through different struggles, all different things. Again, I wish that I would have had that. And so that's why I care so deeply about helping people in this way, And so, like I said, I think that it just comes down to when you're looking at what's going on with your body and stuff, it just being like, oh, I'm just always so tired. Like that's not normal. Oh, I'm always just so angry and frustrated. Like that's not normal. So like go get your hormones tested and get those things and get those measures. But like, and if you feel like, well, the doctor only wants to be on medicine, then find a naturopath if you can, or join groups that are going through similar things and see kind of, you know what I mean? Like the community and stuff like that. And like, I have my community of girls, with my clients, but also of my friends who, will be going through stuff. I'm like, oh, well, what did you do for that? Cause there's knowledge in that, or there's power in that knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's power in numbers. for
Right.
sure. So you get with other people that are trying other things, and
Yeah,
we all have something to learn from other people.
for sure.
But I'm glad you brought up the thing about Ozempic
Mm,
because this has really been weighing on my heart a lot lately.
right.
As I know it's so popular and
Yes.
people are seeing amazing results
Hmm.
from Ozempic as far as weight loss goes.
Right.
But they you're paying the price basically
For sure.
because people are losing their eyesight. Like there's so many bad side effects to this
Right.
that it's like, is it worth it for a couple pounds of
Yeah.
weight that you could probably lose if you just had the know-how or the guidance?
Yeah.
And like you said, people can go on YouTube and find this stuff out. People can get with friends and trial and error it. The fastest path to anything you want in success is to hire a coach and to hire
Correct.
somebody that
Correct.
you can ask questions to and they can help guide you down that path.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that you can't make changes. A lot of people in fitness, I feel like they know what to do.
Right.
They just don't want to do it. And they
Right.
do look for this quick fix. But what if we could take fitness and move it? And this is what I love about you, Dani,
Yeah.
that you do this. What if you could take fitness and make it fun? Make it
Right.
something to where it's not a chore. It's
Yeah.
not hard to do. It's like, hey, let's make this, build our life around this. Let's do something that is fun to do. Dani has these
You fit?
events, the
Yeah.
Move Fit events,
Yeah.
which are amazing. I've got to go out and see some of them. I've got to photograph some of them,
Yeah.
and I would love to take a class actually,
Yes.
because it's the energy that's
Right.
there,
Right.
and you don't have to know how to dance or how
No.
to.
No,
It's
we got
just
guys that
move.
come on and do it. We got little kids that come out and do it. Like, it's just about being able to get outside of yourself and get away from, being in a gym and being in that space. And like, cause usually I'll do it at a park or a hotel or something really cool. And it's one of those things where, you come out and you just get to follow along with some crazy girl yelling and dancing, right? And just be able to feel good in your body. I think for so many of us, we just want to feel good in our body. We just want to feel safe in our body. We want to feel accepted or whatever it is. And so I create that space for women, as you've seen, and help them to feel like their best self. And with the whole like short fix and all that stuff, like trust me, I get it. And there's so many times where on this part of my journey in this season that I've been like, oh man, like how nice would that be? Or like, whatever, right? For like a brief moment. But again, the satisfaction that I get from still pushing my body and challenging it when I do movement, but doing it in a different way. So not killing myself with a bunch of cardio, but doing a moderate amount, getting my steps in, like lifting, not for ego, right? But lifting to feel strong and empowered. All these things, it just makes me feel like a whole person. And I think that and I know when you cut corners, you don't feel any better. You just look better. And the goal should be that we feel better, and the looking better is the byproduct of that. Right. So
Yeah,
everybody's got it twisted, and they're like, well, who cares how we look or how we feel if we look good? And I've been in that position too, you guys. So, when I was, like I said, with bodybuilding and got super low in body fat, like I didn't feel good ever. And it was nice that my clothes fit better, right? Like I liked that. And I loved like seeing the muscles and things like that, how it, and Amber knows like how that kind of comes about and the discipline with it. But I just genuinely like didn't feel good. And so it's one of those things where now I'm in a health phase and I just want to feel my best. And all those things that I had neglected for a long time, like the sleeping, I would eat really fast and it was horrible for my digestion. Hence why the gut biome got messed up. Like, and those things matter. I didn't take time. I literally could probably inhale a meal in like 30 seconds. No joke. And that's not appropriate. Like that's not how we were meant to eat. You know what I mean? And so that was just crazy. And then like the caffeine, like you said, like, I mean, I was abusing that as well, just to get me from client to the next client to the next place to the next place. I mean, and yeah. And so it's a very hard balance of a line, right? Of to try to find that and of like what is too much and what is not enough. And that's why like I have a hormonal coach. So like she keeps me in check with things because it could be super easy to go back to those old behaviors right? To be like, oh, well, I'm just going to drop all the weight again and go down to that and diet and whatever. But again, it's not sustainable, you guys. So the people who are on these medicines and things, it's not sustainable. And they're going to come back 1,000 times worse. And that is where I'm just like, and also too, a lot of the people who've decided to go on the medicines, I've watched their journeys, and they've been with, no offense to other coaches, but they've been with that whole coach kind of that mindset that I've told you about before earlier. They put them on way too little food, way too much cardio. And then they're wondering and they're blaming menopause or perimenopause on their things. And I'm like, no, sis, like if you had a better coach, if you had a better structured plan that was not killing yourself every day on top of everything else you're already doing, you probably wouldn't need that medicine then. You know what I mean? Like, so that's where I try to tell people, they think that they tell me all the time, I did everything. I tried so hard, I did whatever. And I'm like, but you were doing the same type of stuff, just exceeding it. Right. And like, that's why then you find that they go to those things to help them because they feel like they've done or the bariatric surgeries, right? Like they've done everything possible, but it's like, but did you actually eat like decent, right? And they're like, oh, well, I still was eating Chick-fil-A. I still was having, like fast food, but that's like part of life. And it's like, okay, but maybe you could have avoided the huge surgery that's detrimental to your life. You know what I mean? Like long term.
Well, that's where accountability groups come in, where it's like, if you're seeing other people do it, because there is this misconception, I feel like in many things of life, where it's like, how does everybody do this to where it like, how are people doing this? But then when you get around other people that are doing it, it's like, oh my God, people are doing this. And it's not as hard as I thought. It's a resistance of the mindset. Like,
well, and some people never learn this, Amber. I mean, like, I get it. Like, I never thought when I was younger that food played a part. I just moved my body and was like, oh, like I'm fit. Like, okay. But no one ever really said, or they're like, oh, have this salad that's like drenched in Caesar dressing. That's healthier. Like, no, I should have just stuck with the chicken and veggies or in the sweet potato or whatever. Right. So again, we're not harping on, people to let them know like that they're silly for like not knowing this. Like we didn't know it at some point. We had to learn it. And I had to go through years of trying the wrong thing or this was too intense or this was not whatever. So it's like when you finally get into this groove of like, you're like, man, like you could actually like find something positive. You know what I mean? Like that works for you. It's incredible. And it's a game changer.
Well, and I think really the thing that if people could keep this in mind, that every single thing that you're doing, it comes at a cost. Right. Everything costs something.
Right.
So if I am eating the strictest, cleanest diet, I'm on a paleo diet, I'm not eating anything processed, I'm doing everything to that effect, it's costing me comfort because it's not easy to do that kind of diet. It requires a lot of discipline. Yeah. If I decide that I want to go on Ozempic and lose a ton of weight, on Ozempic, it might cost me my health. There's going to be side effects to that. If I decide I want to go and do the surgery, where they staple your stomach or whatever, I realize that the cost to that is I'm not going to absorb as many nutrients. So because my stomach is not as big, it's not going to be able to absorb as much. So what does that mean? It means really I have to supplement. Yeah, that's right.
Really think it through. And that's what we're saying, you guys. Like, just if it sounds too good to be true, like it might be too good to be true, like think about the long-term effect. Like talk to a coach, talk to a trainer, somebody that actually believes in your health, believes in this, in a mission that is bigger than just looking good. And you know what I mean? And work with them to find something that works for your lifestyle. That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for a cookie cutter plan that anybody is doing because it doesn't make sense. You're a different body, you're a different lifestyle, right? Like everybody wants to feel unique and different and whatever. Your health is no different, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like take it into your own hands and like, ask for those people, especially women, like stand up for yourself, like, and that's what I wish that, I even would have done when I was younger and could have, helped me on that way,
Yeah. And, same. Fitness has been a journey throughout my life. I've not done everything right. I've definitely made some mistakes. I know that I got into this mindset of I've got to look a certain way and I like to look a certain way. Right. And then I that come at a cost too, because that I destroyed my hormones. And it wasn't until I went and got blood work and started to see the results of that that I'm like, okay, I've got to fix this. And I see even now, as we sit here right at this current moment, that there's certain things that I've abused. I've abused the energy drinks.
Yeah.
I have tried to take shortcuts. I know that if I want to curb my appetite, I can have a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I also know Diet Cokes are not that healthy for you.
Right.
And it affects how much water I drink. So everything comes at a cost.
Right.
And even when you see people that look like they have it all together,
Right.
that's one moment in time. You really almost have to watch somebody, like you said, their journey.
Yeah.
What does that journey look like? Because anyone can do all these shortcuts and get in shape for a moment, but
Yeah.
can they sustain that
Correct.
and be healthy in the process? Does their skin still look good? Is their hair still growing? Yes, these are things that life and toxins and things will affect.
Yeah.
But it's like you mentioned in the beginning, we all have a choice, and it's just choosing what you can control, choosing the best options within those boundaries.
I think they're just, again, like you said about the grace thing, there needs to be more grace for ourselves. There needs to be more grace for others. And watching people's journey gives you the whole picture. Like, so with all this Instagram scrolling, TikTok scrolling, or whatever, it's just like watching a movie. You wouldn't just walk into the theater and just look for like a second at what's playing and then walk out, right? You're going to see the whole thing start to finish. So follow people, look at where they came from, what they've done, like listen to what they're saying. Like, because again, these brief little things that you see these girls or however it is, and influencers or gym dudes and how they program stuff, like just looking at their body and be like, wow, like I want to get to that. Like you're jumping ahead to the end of the movie. You haven't even like started watching it. You don't even know, like, you know what I mean? And you're just like, I just have to get there. And so again, it's like, I remember when I started bodybuilding, I had no, what's the word? I had no preconceived notions. I said, I don't know how my body's going to look. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. I hope that by the hard work that I do, it'll result in that on stage. So I didn't look at other girls. I didn't try to fixate on their bodies. I didn't have any comparison. I showed up. I did the plan. I showed up. I did the plan. I ate. I did whatever. You know what I mean? With strongman, I lifted the weight and put it down. I lifted the weight and put it down. Right. I did exactly whatever. And so again, and I felt successful with those things. Right. It's when we take things to an extreme and we don't have an off season, or we don't have a different seasons like you spoke about, Amber, right? Like, and so it's one of those things where, again, being proud of the things that you're doing, but knowing that like, okay, I can do this for a short amount of time. And then maybe I do a different season, something else, or I take a break, or I do, and that's okay. I think that everyone's been, they've been sold on this idea that once you look this way, you're going to look this way forever. And guys, like, that's not the case. There may be some genetic freaks, maybe the 1% that like do their whole life. They've always looked the same, whatever. But like hormones will change. You'll have kids. Like things are going to happen. Like and so by loving your body throughout, and like, that's why that mantra is so important. It will help you in every season. So it's helped me, like I said, at 55% body fat to 14% body fat. It's helped me at bodybuilding, running, being a speaker, author, all the things, right? Podcaster, all, my life. It's been able to help me get it through, because there's so many times where I could have been like, because I had to go months without moving. Like I could walk because I couldn't feel my leg from a severe injury. Now with my eyesight and not being really able to see, like out of my left eye, like I could be very upset and say, like, I can't drive now. I can't do things. Like I probably shouldn't drive, but you know what I mean? Like whatever, we're still gonna do it. But like, couldn't even drive well to begin with. But you know what I'm saying? Like I could have given up and said, okay, you know what I mean though? Like, and it's just like, no, like we adapt and we overcome. Right. And that is what, I know what I'm trying to do, what you're trying to do. And just like opening up about these things is totally normal. Like it doesn't make you less vulnerable. It doesn't make you, or like make you seem less than or anything like that. Like I believe vulnerability is beautiful, and that's where we grow, and that's where we become strong. And just trying to educate people on all of this, like, and most women probably don't know that, like, in order for me to like get my cycle back, I had to put on weight because my body was at a place where it didn't feel safe. And, and then you'd be like, oh, well, just stop having the cycle. Well, then that can lead to detrimental things. And then I won't be able to have a child someday. So it's kind of like, let's put it in perspective, right? for me with my eye. If I continued down the path of doing a show, I had to pull out 2 months before the show. If I had to continue down that path, they sat there and told me liver damage, you could have all these things happen, your thyroid, whatever, just be insignificant, then you'd have to go on medicine. Like, you could lose your eyesight. For what? A body? You know what I mean? I still trained like a bodybuilder. I still meal prep. I still do those things, but I don't stress myself out to the point where I literally can't do anything else besides those 3 things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's where you have to look at, okay, this is at a cost. Everything's at a cost.
Mhm.
And, it is unrealistic. And I think social media, which you and I have had this conversation prior to this, we could go in a whole nother episode of, social media, but there is a lot of pressure on social media. You see people that, they look like they have it all together. You don't know that maybe they do put fitness first, and then they're letting other things fall to the wayside in their life or whatever. You don't know, but comparison it will kill everything. Because I think that when people start comparing, and I'm guilty of this as well, when you start to compare yourself to other people, that's when you start to think, you feel hopeless. Like, well, I can't do this because, maybe they're starting at a different place than I'm starting at, or maybe they have different genetics, or maybe they have a different life. I'm a mom, like maybe they're not, maybe they have a job that they don't have, they work from home or whatever. You compare yourself, but you're not comparing apples with apples.
Yes.
And social media kind of has this way of doing this to us where it's like, oh no, we have to be this because look, all these people I follow that I'm inspired by, they all got it together. Right. So now I need to take shortcuts to keep it all together.
They don't. And I always tell people, you guys, that it's irrelevant. Like, comparison is irrelevant. Like, just like that, maybe the brownies you ate last night or whatever, it's irrelevant. Does that have any bearing on today? Like, does that mean that you have to eat poorly and go eat more brownies today? Like, no, like, it's already happened. Like, it's done. So I always just kind of, again, put it in perspective. And that's like my approach with everything is keeping it real with my clients, with my friends, with my family, because I lived in a world for so long where I held back and I just didn't say anything. I didn't feel like I had the space or the safe space to say things. And I didn't like that life. And so now I say, I just keep it open with everyone. And again, comparison's not going to do you any good. And you say, oh, well, it's motivating. No, find other ways to motivate yourself. You know what I mean? I wear my bands every day. Fight for what you want, get your movement in, love your body throughout. Every day, these motivate me. When I wear them, I feel like I can go get my movement in. I can accomplish anything, right? Like, if you have a painting on the wall that motivates you, sticky notes that you write a positive affirmation on, that, like, whatever it's got to be, like, find what motivates you and go rock with it.
Yeah, I love that. That's like, I was going to ask you for a final takeaway. She just kind of dropped the mic there. Hey. Here you go. Yes. But it's so good. And, Dani, I love your philosophy when it comes to fitness. I think it's so valuable. Everybody is on different levels, but I think when people come in and they can get in with a coach like yourself, who is like, there's no judgment zone here. Like, we're all at different places. We can, I want to inspire you to be the best you. Now, there's always comparison to yourself. Like, did I do better today than I did yesterday? Sure. That's a healthy comparison.
Right.
But, I love that. I've always loved that about you. I feel like your brand is so empowering and so helpful to women. That's just helping them, inspire them to get in shape, not by some like iron force, but rather like this healthy motivation.
Thank you so
much. So I love what you're doing. You have some Move Fit events coming up. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Move Fit, I have May 10th is Move Fit in the Park. And it is happening at Walk of Fame Park, which is so special and so cool. I'm so excited about it. And I literally, I partnered with Downtown Nashville for this, and I've been trying to do this for years. And so it's an initiative. It's a free event. So you can come as you are, just show up, have fun, get a bunch of goodies, and just be a part of, for the, hour or 2 hours, something different and unique. And like I said, you don't have to, and Amber said, you don't have to know how to dance. Have fun. You're going to burn a ton of calories and just enjoy the day. It's a great form of cardio, but it does take a lot of strength, because like you're moving the whole time, but it's good. And I've had people who've never moved really and had movement at all in their life come. And I've had people who are seasoned fitness people come. So it's all walks of life. So please show up to that. On the first one coming up is May 10th. And then I'm doing the expo. Again, I do that every year, the Music City Fit Expo at the fairgrounds, May 31st. And that one's at 9 a.m. And that one's also free. To get into the expo, it's not, but you can just come to Move Fit. And then, get a ticket for the expo for the rest of the day. But when you see me, it's just free. And so, so I'm offering all those. And then I have even some more coming up, like once a month, like one in June, one in August, one in September. But if you follow me on all social media platforms, Dani D Fitness 1, you can find that out. And I'm always on there posting, talking about what I'm doing. And I'm just finding like, what's important is I always want to find a way that if you're listening and you're this person and you're like, well, I don't know how Dani can help me. It's like, there is a way, whether that's my newsletters that maybe motivate you, or that's my podcast that you listen to every day, or that's, coming to a free event and meeting girlfriends and friends and, people that you want to get movement in with, or it's working with me one-on-one. That's an option as well. I have my sponsored home gym, and people can come to and just feel safe and not have to deal with, any nonsense, and just have a good community. Have online programming as well. I train clients in California, Alabama, Florida, different states, and work with them as well. So there's a lot of ways I've been able to grow my business and be able to show people that, it's not just simply about, hire me as a trainer. Like, this is a brand, this is a mission. And so I want people to know that I'm here and I've been where you're at. So I know how challenging it can feel and overwhelming. So whatever you have to start with, maybe order my book, How to Love Your Body Throughout, on Amazon. Order that. And that's a great place to start.
I love it. Dani she's got a big heart for people in the fitness, that have these fitness aspirations to get their body in shape and love their body and healthy and whole and all the things. So check her out for sure. And Dani and I may collaborate on some things in the future. We'll see. But the main thing here, and I think both of our hearts behind just really this recording of the podcast, my podcast and her podcast as well, it's a little different. Her podcast is more fitness driven. Mine's more trauma driven. But our hearts align in this, that we do want to see people get in their very best place, like their health-wise very best place. Because if you're not healthy, you can't fulfill your purpose, and you're not going to feel like fulfilling it. So we just want to inspire you to be the best you that you can be.
100%. And my whole, really and truly, to just lay it out there, I want to change how society views bodies as a whole. I want people to be able to feel their best and powerful and strongest, no matter what that, in terms of how that looks. And if they're continually moving their body, they're fueling their body, I'm on board with it. You know what I mean? And so I want people to be able to embrace themselves and always be working towards being their best, so that they can, like you said, Amber, fulfill their purpose.
I love it. Well, Dani, thank you so much for being here today and just for sharing so much knowledge with us. I know it's going to impact so many people. So thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much. See ya.
Hey there, friend. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time here with us on Through the Trauma podcast. Your presence means more than you know. If this episode has spoke to you or gave you hope or made you feel just a little bit less alone, then I would love it if you would take a second, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who truly needs to hear it. Every share, every comment, every listen, it all helps our message get out and reach those who truly need it the most. Healing happens inside of a community, and together we are breaking the silence and creating space for transformation. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You are not alone.